The following podcast may be explicit. One Joe Young presents Adventures from the Shed, a tabletop RPG podcast. You can find us online at adventuresfromtheshed.com. Mickie, JJ, Kurt, and Chris continue to experiment with their characters' abilities in order to work together. They were left with several clues and loose ends to tie up. Let's listen in and see how they handle wrapping up the encounter. Enjoy the podcast. Hi, and welcome back to The Shed for Adventures from the Shed. You can find us online at adventuresfromtheshed.com. We're going to jump right back into this after we go around the table and say hi with a little character information, and we will start with...
Hi, everyone. This is Mickie. I play Mora, the same.
JJ here. I am playing Cletus Fitzhammer, the school resource officer warden of Smashy Things.
Hey, this is Kurt. I am playing Jamie Anderson, the wealthy woodsman who's a kind of a druid. And I got to say, I'm particularly excited for this hour of recording because something that has just happened that never happened in 3 years of recording. Off air, we hit Mickey's limit.
Nice.
Who's next?
This is Chris, playing Victor Bartok, the Knight of the Cross and White Court Virgin.
And Chris is Mickey's limit.
You're welcome.
The safe word is no, Chris.
God, that's sad.
Yeah,
Wow,
my safe word is don't stop.
And this is Joe. I am the game master as we continue our Dresden Files accelerated role-playing game. We have started off a new campaign where several episodes into our first adventure where our characters have become entangled in a mess with a voodoo practitioner and a closed grocery store, which is trying to reopen as a gym. And they're trying to figure out what the heck happened there. We're going to go around in kind of a collaborative recap from our last session. I will mention that one of the things that happened in the last session was... Jamie's character, or had said this last time too, Kurt's character, Jamie, had discovered a symbolic link between the zombies and a bone carving on the voodoo practitioner's necklace, and was able to exploit that a little and slow down the zombies. Who else remembers something that happened last time?
We had the plan, Cletus' plan to knock over all the shelves onto the zombies using some ritual magic, and we just had to give them some extra time to set that up.
What part did they have to do in that, Cletus? JJ?
They had to set up the thaumaturgic objects so that I could cast little magic and have big magic happen.
Amplificationing. Cool.
Also,
Mickie?
about that time,
Okay.
I ate a lot of Doritos.
That's a good point. Yeah, Doritos happened. Sorry. That was the muting in the last episode. Mickie, what did Mora do in the last episode?
Mora went bowling for zombies for a bit
in
order to maintain them corralled within those shelves. She also kind of dropped the people's elbow at the end there on that Shaw woman.
Yeah.
Knocked out her tooth. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah. That's
Chiclets
pretty bad.
everywhere.
And as we were getting towards the end of the last episode, there was some question and answer with the bad guy in this case, which we learned was Champagne Horace, who is a voodoo practitioner, born and raised in the upstate of South Carolina. And right towards the end of it, we learned that Bruce would not stand for her being disrupted. She pointed out to the group that Cletus would know who Bruce was, and that's kind of where we left off last time. Let's pick up from there, and that Champagne Horace has now been handcuffed, and she was already tied, so I don't know the current, bondage situation with the voodoo practitioner. However, the zombies are still kind of meh. They're zombies still. They're not just like re-dead. They're not re-dead. They're still undead.
Yes.
So where do we go from here?
We need to do something to secure the location, and we need to remove her from here. I don't know who Bruce is, but I have resources to figure that out.
Do we have a safe place we can take this person?
And do we need to do anything about the zombies first? Or
That's something
Yeah.
I'm going to have to cast a much bigger ritual to
Can we just gank them?
Can we ward them in so that they at
But
least
eventually,
can't escape?
people are going to want to come in here and turn
Yes.
this to a gym. So
A part of the reason you guys were here, from the normal's view, was that the contractors could never quite start getting their job completed. Start getting it completed. Gold's Gym still wants to move in here, and you got to let the normals get back to work in some way. So zombies and wrecked buildings.
do you
and stuff
guys
like that.
call in cleanup crews? How does that work, Cletus?
I could put a request out to the White Council for assistance in this. This is something that they would something we don't have to handle ourselves.
Can we
So-
just cut their heads off? Would that?
The White
Yeah, but
Council?
We still have
No,
physical
the
remains.
The bodies,
Zombies.
the physical remains will still be here. They're not. They're not made of ectoplasm.
No, but are they moving or are they neutralized?
They're
They are
moving.
They're
Yeah.
still moving.
So if we cut off their heads, would they stop moving?
Not necessarily.
Oh, can we set them on fire?
Not without burning the building down.
That was one of the options I mentioned earlier. I just want to point that out.
Burn the building down.
Or can we
However,
dismember them?
I can set up a ward outside to keep them in and keep
Until-
everyone else out until the White Council can respond.
That makes sense.
So do we need
Seems
to
like it could happen.
detain Champagne somewhere?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I know plenty of places we could take her. But
Mr. Moneybags, I'm sure you got
Of
some
course,
rooms over
yeah.
there that we could use, right?
You have a safe house?
He's built his own German dungeon.
I know I've got a pump house up near Rainbow Falls.
You got a
I've
pump house?
I've got a cabin.
No, you have a pump house?
I know of one that there won't be anyone at.
Let's take her there. Running water neutralizes magic.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a Dresden verse thing, yes.
Oh, well,
Running
yeah.
water
There's one up
neutralizes magic.
3/4 of a mile from Rainbow Falls. We can use. No one will bother us.
Perfect.
All right.
So we'll ward the building. Cletus will ward the building to
Yes.
keep the zombies in.
And then I'll meet you. Send me the address. Tell me the address, and I'll meet you there while I discuss with the White Council.
All right, it's gonna be a bit of a hike. Get a park up near Jones Gap and hike in, but it's not too hard.
Okay.
I'm disappointed I don't get to hack zombies apart, but I'll deal with it.
I mean, if you want to
It's
go,
not like you can't just
toe to
jab one in
toe
the
or-
eye before you go.
Yeah.
You can get a
Walk
little
by and
satisfaction.
kick it
that
on the side
box.
of the head.
Bucket list finished.
Bucket list, yes.
Behead one.
Zombie neutralization bucket list check mark.
And I'm going to collect the teeth because I have a feeling that the teeth of a shop person might be useful
Voodoo practitioner.
in some sort of ritual or spell that I haven't come across yet, but you never know.
So what? Okay.
Make
now
sure you
now
write
here's the
that
question:
down.
Do I see you pick up that, or
Yeah.
or you do it surreptitiously?
Well, you're busy putting up your wards, right?
I'm not outside yet.
There's no reason, unless Mora would specifically hide the fact, there's no reason that it
No,
wouldn't
sure.
have.
Just kind of
Okay.
walk over and pick up a couple,
Yeah.
put them in a pouch.
There's blood on the ground and a tooth. One tooth.
One tooth. That's the one I pick.
So, Cletus, how we turn these dolls off? I don't really want to leave these laying around.
Oh, now Chris in the shed here was just making a motion like he had the dolls in his hand. And would
No, I
Victor
don't.
have picked them up?
Yes.
So when Victor picks them up and turns them, both Victor and Mora get a queasy feeling as you're like twisting them, as if you're in a carnival
This could
ride.
get interesting.
Yeah.
Victor.
So
Wait.
it is apparent to both Victor and Mora that there's still a link. There's still a link between the doll and yourself that has not yet been broken.
Hand me that doll, please.
I'm sure there's a
Thank
garden
you.
hose or something outside, and we can just throw it under the faucet.
What if that makes us drown?
It shouldn't.
He said shouldn't.
How about we try it with
Really?
your doll first?
How about yours? That's he's so sure of himself.
Why
I'm
don't
sure
why don't we just burn them?
Yeah, sure. Let's do that.
Great idea.
I do want to throw it
Mama
out
had a
there
baby and the
that you
head popped
need,
off.
in the future, you need to be more careful with fingernail clippings and whatnot, because she has something of yours in that doll in order to link it back to you.
There's something about magic that in order to inflict personal harm, you probably need a personal bit of that personal thing.
So now how? Okay. She's still awake?
Well, right. So that implies
I
that
thought
she
these were
knew
just
who you
improv
were.
dolls.
Yeah, exactly.
That
Now-
means she knew who
So
you
my,
were.
my inference earlier, and this holds, is that she was watching you guys outside. So as you're walking around, she's able to figure enough out about you to make a link.
All right.
So nothing
and just so-
mysterious at this point. Nothing mysterious. She didn't go to your house and get a hair out of your
Gotcha.
hairbrush. All right. This
Took
was
the straw out of my cherry
This was all
limeade.
on scene stuff.
All right, I'll put
Voodoo
the
DNA.
Moradol under some
Actually,
water.
that would make sense. Maybe the straw fell out of your cherry limeade and it was surreptitiously grabbed. Something like that makes sense.
Or
'cause
the
it's
can
in
of
scene.
peas I ate. earlier
Yeah,
and
the
kicked
green beans.
Yeah,
you
green beans.
slurp the green
That's
beans.
right.
You're just a hungry dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the thing. I'm always hungry.
You're always hungry.
All right, I'll put some. I'll run Moradol under the water.
Okay.
How you feeling?
Kind of wet. What's going
Yeah.
on?
It.
Just made her wet.
Oh, perfect. That's it, folks.
Yeah,
We're
I'm out of here.
done.
Be sure to tell the
And
waitresses.
join us next time.
Nice.
Just to be clear, this was not Mickey's limit.
This is our first 10-minute episode.
Okay. Any effect?
It breaks the link.
All right.
Okay.
The important part was
It
to
adds
let
a little
you
chunk
know.
of trust.
However you guys want to play
Yeah,
that.
well,
But the important part was to let you know that there was still something there.
Right,
And I wouldn't have told you unless you did
Oh,
what you
yeah,
did.
yeah.
It made the physical motion,
Right.
like you picked him up and shook him around. In which case you get, queasy and lightheaded because you just shook yourself around. All right. So what's next?
Pump house.
Yeah.
So they're going to go to the pump house, and I
Yeah.
am going to contact the White Council for both a cleanup crew to deanimate these zombies
Okay.
and to remove the bodies, as well as see if they can't, what do you call it? Like clean up the crime scene,
Okay.
the action scene.
Now,
Or just
go
to
ahead.
be clear, where we're going is super simple cabin, like there for fresh water, used as a still back in the day, and it's a bit of a hike, so
Okay.
about half an hour north of town.
Okay.
It's just one of the places I would have known from camping and hiking. There's
I've-
nothing there, so if we need anything in particular, we need to bring it with us.
I've got a
JJ, are
question
you
for-
on Google Hangouts on your phone?
I
you just-
can be.
Go ahead, please. And then you guys go ahead back to talking.
I've got a question for Cletus. So the fact that you're contacting the White Council, they're now going to come into town and see all these zombies. They're going to want to know who animated them. So are we going to have to turn over the shop person?
We don't
Yes.
know, but we don't know that she animated them yet.
The White Council would want to investigate. So we have a limited amount of time with this
Oh.
chick.
Yeah, that's fine. Just can't have her out in the open.
She's not long for this mortal coil.
All right. So, do you want the White Council to know about this cabin?
There's nothing to it. I mean, it's literally...
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind if they know.
Okay.
It's just a place to get her away from town where we can
her
interrogate and or torture her as needed.
Are you good to be here on your own?
More so
Yeah.
than you already have. Did you get what I sent, JJ?
No, I'm still downloading Hangouts.
Oh, I thought you had it. All right. So in the meantime, you guys are. I mean, let's say you've got an hour of time that the three of you are hanging out with Champagne in the Jeep. Is it? Somebody had a Jeep.
Oh,
She has a Jeep, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. We got
She's the
champagne in the
Yeah.
Jeep.
So you guys are bringing her there. What else? What other conversations might you have? Interpersonal within the characters? Anything else you might ask her? She's not going to volunteer anything, of course, but
She's still awake. Then.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Oh,
we
yeah.
want to really talk about certain things.
So we're not with JJ, or we are with
well,
JJ?
he is setting up his stuff and wanted to contact the White Council. We're taking this as an interlude of a little bit of split the party, but nothing bad's happening, so it's not bad split the party. So the three of you are together, and you have an opportunity to learn
What
more.
was that?
That's his reply.
That was his Google Hangouts.
Interesting.
It just
Why is
booped.
that on
Came
there?
through our headphones.
He logged in someplace else?
I don't know why it would be.
Well, while Joe figures out his bizarre tech,
That's actually kind of neat, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Send me another one, JJ. I wanna see
So we
where
can all
that
hear them.
shows
Bloop.
up. Yeah.
I'm going to ask Mora.
You send one of the emoticons, don't they make
What the
noises too?
hell is that on my?
I don't know.
It's not in my. Gonna. Okay. Anyway, keep going.
I'm going to ask Mora what the deal is with Cletus.
I was going to say, how do you know this guy? What's up?
And what's
this
his,
guy's
like,
deal?
'cause I don't remember, I don't really know too much about wardens at this point.
I met him through his job as a resource officer. I was in town looking up some, wannabe witches. Turned out to be more Wiccas than anything. And he was at the local high school. These were like local kids, and he was at the local high school. And while I was doing my stakeout and investigating, I came across him. And we just got to chatting. Originally, I thought he would help. Like, I was pumping him for information.
What's his deal with all the magic?
He's a wizard.
So you met
That's
him
what they
in the
say.
mortal world, kind of,
Yeah.
and then you found out
And
about
then I
his
found out about
supernatural
the
leanings.
supernatural, exactly. Because he was
By accident, or he purposely showed that?
well,
to you?
he was looking as a warden. His job is to find warlocks, right? So he was looking for the same group of kids to make sure that they weren't doing anything illegal, that they weren't breaking any of the laws of magic. And we just determined that they had talent, just not enough to be anything material. So it was just a little bit of education.
So, like, how powerful is he on a wizard scale of 1 to 10?
And I haven't seen him tear apart anything, like bring down entire buildings, but I've seen him hold his own in a few fights. So he's got some pretty offensive, a couple of offensive spells that could really lay somebody out.
Tell me about his.
So he can be offensive.
Oh, on a regular basis.
Isn't that his thing?
All right, so that's
that-
that's what happens then, as far as the White Council.
Well, we can have that conversation between Cletus and the White Council, and everyone can hear it if
Yep.
you're okay with that. Okay.
Yep.
Anything else you guys talking about in the Jeep on the way to the pump house?
We should talk about what our plan is with Champagne.
Okay.
I'd want to know more of your background as well, because we just met you.
And hey, this is crazy.
What's that?
But here's my
But
number.
here's my number. So call me baby.
Call me maybe. Although my
call me
name is
maybe?
No.
You know, I'm
My
just
number is- no.
I'm
my
just
sign is no.
No, my number is
Handsome.
You need
no.
to let it go.
dashingly debonair and
Yeah.
don't really like people very much.
Although all of you probably have some stain of combat on you, whether it be a little bit of blood, a bruised knuckle from punching a voodoo priestess in the face, or
Yeah.
whatever it may be. A green bean juice.
Yeah, I would be relatively
cream.
open. Yeah,
Okay.
I grew up in Greenville. There's
Yeah.
things about my family I don't really love, and I get bored in town and like being out in the woods and hunting and fishing. Just that kind of stuff. Not particularly open, but not closed about it.
You could see that Mora's a little kind of standoffish towards you because of the history from your background. Would you ask her about it, like why she seems kind of miffed at you?
Yeah, I wouldn't like any ladies in combat boots being miffed at me. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we would just chat.
We would talk about it, talk it out, hug it out.
Hug it out, bitch. All right. So with that, another question I want to have asked, I'm going to ask now. Would you have gagged Champagne Horace?
Fuck yes.
Definitely.
Jamie, would you have gagged her?
That
Because
bitch
it
up.
sounds like it's going to be unanimous.
I wouldn't have if I thought we were going to be talking with her, getting information from her. But if we're going to wait till we
We'll
get to
wait
the pump
till we-
house, I would
yeah.
have. Yeah.
The wizard said,
Along the ride in the Jeep, would you have silenced her mouth?
Definitely.
Yes, because
And
I don't want
hooded
her
her.
Because that's what I'm.
Yes.
That's what
I figure
I'm.
we'll put
I
her
just wanna
down
make sure.
low and like,
Okay.
with a hood, right?
we'll
Okay.
sit over.
Gag and a hood.
Because
Sit over in the back.
Because there are two aspects to it. The reason I ask it is one, could she have done something bad? But two, could
Right.
she have added to the conversation? So no is the answer to both.
Correct.
So you covered that.
And I
we're
will.
gonna-
I will just
go
mention
ahead.
that when we were chatting, I didn't talk at all about the Earl King. So
Okay.
I don't know. I have no idea whether that's anything that she would care about. But that will probably or could come up later in conversation. But it has not yet.
Okay. So we'll switch the scene to Cletus contacting the White Council. How does he contact them?
He contacts them by phone, by rotary phone. And it's typically he has a code phrase that he gives out, and they respond in kind with their code phrase.
Okay.
So it's something like chocolate-covered barbecue sauce wiener dogs.
Okay. And they respond back, monkey penis hockey stick.
Pop monkey penis hockey stick. Sounds
Yeah.
good. All right.
Custard covered cheese
So-
curds.
Custard covered cheese curds.
I need to request some assistance as far as cleaning up a scene. I encountered a warlock at the place that you gave me intelligence on, and I have apprehended her, and we are looking into a name that she let slip by the name Bruce.
You recognize the voice of somebody, another warden, and the only name you know him by is Johnny. And he says, Cletus, what are you talking about?
I received a missive from you guys stating that some black magic was detected, and I was to go to a specific location once I gathered some allies.
And he says, hold on, and you hear him cover the receiver, and you hear some muffled boom, 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 boom. And he comes back to the receiver, and he says, nope. What are you talking about?
All right, regardless, I need assistance at such and such place, the old Food Lion in Greer.
Okay.
There you will find some animated zombies. I have a practitioner of black magic, and she broke the 5th law. I need to convene a council in order to try and execute her.
Try and execute.
All right. I guess we'll have someone go check out the building. Is it secured?
It is secured. I warded it so that the zombies shouldn't want to leave, but I am not convinced that it will last much longer than the day.
Okay, and who sent you this original message?
It came through White Council secure channels. It didn't come with a name, though.
Well, I guess we'll have to get back to you, and the line goes dead.
Okay.
Does that mean they're coming?
So at this point, we can say you catch up to the others.
Yep.
Okay. And part of me sending the message to JJ was if it was all right for that conversation to be out in the open, that they didn't know what he was talking about. And so we're clear there. And that, for that matter, you guys can then have been privy to that, and then we can see how Cletus wants to handle this as he arrives at the pump house, which you gave him the relative address to, right?
Yep.
And Cletus arrives on scene as perhaps you are dragging Champagne towards the building.
Fair enough.
About it over my shoulder.
She's not going to go willingly, I guess, is the point.
Well, she's bound. She kind of has to go wherever we're gonna-
Well, yeah, but I mean,
Yeah.
she can still struggle.
Yeah.
So limp noodle.
Yeah, every now and then she's going to try and squirm her way out of something or off of someone's shoulders. And
So there's a creek or something running by this pump house?
Exactly. It's
I was like, can we get a chair? We need to tie her to a chair in
Put
the
her-
creek.
Yeah.
Okay.
you're going to wash your voodoo priestess in the creek.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sanitizer.
Okay.
So the White Console has a mole, or you guys got hacked? What's up?
All right, so I will convey this to them. My current assumption is that this was above the pay grade of whoever it was I spoke to. That's my current assumption because I don't see anything duplicitous from the council. As far as Bruce, I did not receive any information. I'm not sure if that was something that they didn't care about or whatever, but I can expect once we get the support from the council as far as cleaning up the store that they will give me a package containing information about Bruce.
Would this conversation be going on anywhere near Champagne Horace?
I don't want any of those
No,
conversations
it would be
going
in
there.
it would be in the pump house since she's
Okay.
outside in the water.
Okay.
Because I'm comfortable with taking my eyes off of her once she has a body part submerged in running water.
Okay.
Still, I'd keep an eye on her through a window, though.
Okay.
Well, somebody else comes by,
and
or
we might be
an
able to get
animal.
information from her about who Bruce is with proper interrogation
Okay.
techniques.
So, because you said that, Chris, when you're watching her out the window, and he says he doesn't have any, or he couldn't get any information about Bruce, you catch her eye and she shakes her head at you.
Like she can hear, and she doesn't believe him.
That's up to him on how to interpret it. But I think I pretty blatantly infer that, yes.
I think to myself, I don't say it. Can you hear me? I think that in my head to her.
And
Okay.
there doesn't seem to be any reply to that.
All right. We're just going to have to interrogate her. I think she can hear everything we're saying right now.
Do you have any ritual or spell you can cast on her to force her to tell us the truth?
I can't force her to tell her the truth because that would be breaking the 4th law where I enthrall somebody. But I can cast a ritual that will allow us to hear words that are untrue in a different way. So in other words, if a word doesn't have the ring of truth, we'll hear it.
Do you want to do that? Is that going to be really complicated?
It should give me. You got to give me about 15 minutes.
Also, is the White Council on their way to this location?
What's that?
Is the White Council on their way to this location, or do they?
The
know
White
this
Council
location?
will not be showing up here at the pump house. No,
Okay.
they should show up at the packet, at the supermarket, and the package should be left somewhere in my care, either at my home or at work or at my drop box.
Is the White Council something that sits like in a particular city or location, or are there members all over the country?
There are members all over the world.
Yeah. And they have meeting places wherever they feel like meeting.
Yep.
The main one is in Edinburgh.
Do we have any idea how many people are in
Great
the White
Britain.
Council?
Edinburgh, North Carolina.
Part of the council.
I mean, just roughly, is it
So-
7 people or 9,000 people?
So
think it
the
is 7,
senior
isn't
council.
it?
The senior council is
That's the
7.
senior council.
Right.
The White Council, however, numbers probably in the low hundreds.
Yeah.
And that's mostly because of the war with the vampires.
It's like a moose lodge where there are 7 head mooses.
So 7 people.
Mises.
Yes.
Moose Mises.
All right.
Everyone else is still a moose, but
Right.
there are 7 head meeson.
They got a bigger rack.
Well, I think
Yes.
we should try to efficiently
One has the
interrogate
He's the Merlin moose.
Merlin is.
Champagne and see if we can find out
Real
more
name.
about Bruce from her. Or
Correct.
what's going on. Like,
Yeah, but correct interrogation techniques like that is going to take a long time. I don't think we have that time.
Well,
Because
we've-
Payne's not going to give
we
us
can't just
anything.
waterboard?
we've
That's not gonna
gotten-
give us
But
what
to
we
be
want.
fair, you got something out of Payne the first time.
Yeah, but that's only going to last.
Yeah.
Then she's going to start saying anything she wants.
It becomes ineffective after a while. But you've got your ritual, so
I mean, yeah, if you get that going, then
Yeah.
we could do whatever we want, I guess.
Is she
So
attractive?
I'm going to start like building that out.
Okay.
I don't know. Is she
So
attractive?
make sure we do that like we did the last one.
Does that
we
which
can
make
is,
offer sexual
um,
favors in lieu of hard
Name
interrogation.
the effect, describe the effect, prepare the spell, and then we'll come up with a cost.
So the name of the effect is Ring of Truth. And to describe it is that if any words within the area are spoken untrue, then there will be something about how they sound that will be different than the norm
And you want that to last throughout the question and answer session.
throughout the question and answer session.
So that sounds like it would be a sticky condition, so that would add a +3.
okay.
And the sticky condition requires 2 costs. So time, components, assistance, special circumstance, attention, or altered effect or drawback.
Well, I would like one of the costs to be time, since I do have. It's not pressing that we get this done immediately.
So then when you take time, it would be, you said it would take about 15 minutes, so when you use time as a condition or a complication, it takes longer than expected. So it's going
Correct.
to take more than 15 minutes. Okay. And then, and I'm on page 173, but components, which means a rare or common component with limited availability must be must be acquired before proceeding, or you need the assistance of an NPC or faction outside of your usual network of associates, or special circumstance must be completed at a specific place or time, and you're already in a specific place, so time would be the thing. Attention, performing the ritual attracts unwanted and unfortunate notice, or an altered effect or drawback. Revise the effect to include a critical complication, weakness, or drawback to change the workings to your detriment.
I would almost say like it would require like
Like,
you had to have the old cones that you use to hear, like the old
like
hearing
the
aids.
ancient hearing aid?
Yeah, the ancient hearing
The reverse
aids.
bullhorn?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Like that. I guess that would be a rare component because
So
that
how
would
would
be
you
something.
find one of those?
That's a good question.
We are in an old cabin.
and Pickens.
We are in an old cabin.
You got any food in this place, by the way?
No, I mean, it's not even a cabin. It's almost like
Yeah.
a...
You said it was an old still.
Yeah, I mean, it's
So there at a distillery anywhere nearby?
Pump house.
An old pump house is what he said, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's really... I envisioned it as basically a room with a stool and a...
But it
So-
probably had a distillery if this was an old still.
Yeah, I mean...
So you're
Years
trying
ago.
to say there's copper pipe somewhere?
So
Or
there
copper-
might be a moonshine distillery somewhere nearby,
a pot, maybe.
and you would know where it is.
Sure.
We could make something out of it.
Yeah, it would be old and rusted, but it would be there, I guess.
So I would look there, see if there's anything.
So what would we do while all this is going on?
I'm going to work on her.
Yeah, how so?
She's going to massage her shoulders.
I'm
He's going to give her a
I'm going to have a conversation
Little
with her.
shiatsu?
Well, shiatsu massage. Apply a couple pressure
wash her
points.
hair, give her a haircut.
Smack her out a bit. Trying to figure out if I can get some
The old
answers
in,
out
out,
of
in,
her.
out.
Sounds like going to Great Clips.
That sounds good.
So tell me what you're doing.
So, I pull up a chair in front of her and be
Yeah.
like, we're a long way from civilization. So I see this ending two ways. Either you cooperate right away and tell us what we need to know, or I bet you around a bit and then you cooperate. So we can do this the easy way or the hard way. Please say the hard way.
And if I remember right, what she says is,
I remove the gag.
you remove her gag?
I'll remove the gag.
Okay.
We're having a conversation.
Well, maybe.
I would like to have a conversation.
Roll for conversation.
Yes, that's a roll for conversationalist initiative. When you remove the gag, she starts spitting a curse at you.
Well, we're in running water, so her magic won't.
No, it doesn't mean she can't spit a curse at you.
You could curse at me.
Are you just going to let her go?
What, cut? She's
Yeah.
cussing at me?
It's a language
Or
you
sh-
don't quite understand.
So she's like trying to.
It's just like cursing at you in Spanish or something. You wouldn't get it.
Oh, I'm flattered. I've been cursed at in so many languages. I start to
Yeah.
collect them.
Just the curses.
It's just a curse.
And you see her like move her tongue up to the spot where the tooth is missing.
I show her the
And
little
she-
bag,
yeah.
and I'm like, my tooth is lonely.
And she gives you the look, kind of like the way Mickie looks at people. So you can imagine what that look is.
The try it, bitch.
Yeah. And she just clams up at that point.
Aw.
She
Oh,
wants nothing to do
You have a
with
tooth.
you.
Yeah, I have a tooth
Hers.
from her mouth.
from her mouth.
Well, it was from her rectum, but what's the difference?
Could I use it as a component to my spell?
If you give it back, I guess I could take another one from her. Here you go. I toss it to you. And
Plenty more
I
of
look
those
at
where
her.
those came from.
It looks like there's plenty more. Well, another 25. How many teeth do you have in your mouth?
What depends how many she's got left.
A tooth from somebody who you want to tell the truth would probably be a decent component.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I didn't even consider that until.
So you're
Oh,
over there
goodness,
rummaging, and you look up,
Wait,
and you
there's
see
got
me.
You're like
tooth?
tooth.
You got tooth?
Because that's what I was asking you. Like maybe I didn't see you pick it up.
Yeah. So you have a tooth.
I have a tooth.
Yeah.
That should be enough to compel her to tell the truth,
It's very probable.
or at least make it so we can detect lies.
So what does this ritual look like, sound like? How does it happen? I mean, presumably you're going to have to take her out of the water to do it.
No, I'm going to leave her in the water but I'll cast it from the shed, from the shack.
Okay. But how would the magic work on her in running water?
As long as the magic doesn't touch the running water.
But she's
She-
in the running
She's
water.
in the running. It would dispel it. Doesn't running water dispel magic?
You can't cast. You can have spells on running water.
So the spell would still act on her?
Yes, but the running water acts as a ground for spellcasters, not for magic itself.
Okay. So it would still affect her. She just wouldn't be able to counter it.
That seems
Correct.
going to affect all of us.
Like if you remember, in one of the books, the demon cast a spell at Harry, but he couldn't walk into the street where the street was flooding. That a demon couldn't walk into the street, but he was able to cast from the safety into the street, into the running water.
Okay. What does the GM say?
We're going to see how the roll ends up, is what
Oh.
I'm going to say.
I need absolute solids from each of you,
Right.
and I need you to hold something you believe to be true in your minds.
So I'm not going to say it won't work, but I want to use a reference from within the book on page 108. They have an example of invoking an aspect which says, as a sorcerer tries to zap me with lightning, I invoke cascades of water from nearby sprinklers to ground out his magic. So it just says water nearby grounds out the magic. So maybe, maybe not. We'll
But
see what happens.
it's on the sorcerer.
It doesn't say it is. It just says water to ground out the magic. It
Fair
doesn't
enough.
say to drench him. But it'll really depend on the roll and how it ends up. We're making our world as we go. Oh, and I suppose
That's 4
I could roll
pluses.
too. Let me see.
That's
I also have
pretty
4.
ridiculous.
For what now?
4. Well, I have 4 total. 4 is the number.
Okay, I have 4 pluses plus 3, so 7.
Okay.
So I got
And
success with style.
That is. But what were you doing? What action were you taking?
Oh, focus.
Yeah, that's the approach. The action is either create an advantage, attack, defend, or overcome.
Don't know. Oh, it's an overcome.
Overcome.
Ritual magic is overcome.
Okay. Then you accomplish your goal and generate a boost. So, go.
So there is now the ring of truth around her.
Okay. And how are we going to play that? Because right now she's not talking.
Yeah,
So everything is completely true.
exactly.
Yeah. It's a really nice ring. It's like someone hit a tuning fork and there's no interruptions.
So we'd have to start questioning her. Tell us about Bruce.
She's not talking. She actually, when you mention Bruce, she indicates Cletus.
You have any medical equipment here? Or with you? Because you carry a bunch of stuff.
I mean, I would have a very basic first aid kit with me always, but I mean, it's like lacerations.
All right, I'm going to
band-aids.
tourniquet her arm right here.
And put a Band-Aid on it.
I'm going to tourniquet it right here.
Yeah.
Tourniquet, really. Oh, I assumed it was the left hand that got smashed. Was it?
Yeah.
Let's say it was, just for case.
All right, so her right
it
hand.
doesn't
then.
really matter.
I'm going to tourniquet her right hand.
Okay.
And I'm going to chop off her right hand.
Okay.
So we're removing limbs already.
Well, we wanted to talk.
She's going to die, so.
She doesn't lie about the pain.
Have we checked her?
When she screams in pain, it rings true.
The
Are we
parts are
sure?
going to get bigger
Yeah.
unless you start talking.
Yeah, she speaks truth on an F. Just so you know, that's the key.
Key of fuck off.
Yeah, it's the key of FU, actually.
Have we checked her pockets and to see if she has ID or wallet or
That's a
anything?
darn good question. No, would be the answer.
Wait, we cut off her arm before we checked her pockets?
Apparently we did. We went straight for level
Well, no, I
10.
said if she had anything on her, but it was just mostly like the other doll and like the
That's
couple
true.
of
This
their
might be our
bones.
first true murder hobo party.
No kidding.
She's evil.
But actually, to be fair, I think we had already established everyone lived somewhere, so not hobos yet.
Yeah.
All right. Everyone still has a home to go back to. Okay, so she loses her hand, and I would say let's give it 37 seconds of screaming before she calms down, because that shit hurts.
Yeah.
Not that I know, mind you, I saw both of mine, but in this world, that hurts a lot.
Is she talking yet?
She's screaming, and then she stops screaming, and there's a lot of sobbing, and her face is drenched with different fluids, mainly tears and snot.
So
What
unless
color
you,
is her blood this time?
It's about the same.
it's darker than
It's
human.
darker than the normal red that you expect to come out.
So wait, if Victor presumably threatens to now cut off her right foot, she's still not going to talk?
He didn't yet.
I said the pieces will get bigger
Yeah.
once you start talking.
You should start sharpening your, or using a hatchet.
I'm using
or-
your knife.
Oh.
Your big knife.
Oh,
whatever.
so we're going.
Oh,
Jesus.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
No, it's not nice.
The
It sucks.
serrated side of
Yeah,
the
it's the
razor
worst.
knife.
This is not.
Yeah, it's not quick and easy. It's slow and painful.
What's that movie with the rock climber that had to cut his own
I can't
47 hours or something?
remember. Yeah.
27
I
hours.
don't know.
So you going to go rummage through her pockets and whatnot?
Yeah, while she's screaming.
While there is just minor amounts of blood trickling out of her severed hand and wrist.
Shouldn't be any. If I
It
tied
would
it,
be
if it
a
was tight,
small
I'll
amount.
tighten
I
it
mean,
down then if it's not.
There's still some in there. It
Yeah,
has
right,
to come
yeah,
out,
yeah.
right?
But it shouldn't be like
That's why I say it's trickling. Right.
What type of psychic energy
It's
do you
not
feed off
gushing.
of, potentially?
Despair.
Fear? Despair?
There.
So are you like thinking about feeding while you do this?
We
Oh, I
haven't,
am injured. Yes, I think I
we
will.
haven't explored that yet.
I will.
Okay.
Yeah, because I have a
You do
stress
have
point.
one
Yeah,
stress,
so I'll,
okay.
I'll do that. I'll feed off her.
Okay. We'll see where that leads.
Sorry, guys.
Going down the dark path.
So
Oh, yeah, her foot's
typically, there's usually an outward change in the vampires when they start feeding. Either the eyes will chrome over, or something like that happens.
Even the emotional vampire.
They change subtly.
yeah,
In
emotional
the
vampires
in the
change
books,
the least.
Harry Dresden notices it, but in his narrative, he usually says other people probably wouldn't notice, but I noticed when blah blah blah.
So maybe mortals don't notice at all, but people in
Well,
the know would notice.
In a confessional
Probably.
booth, they can't see you.
Yeah, right. Oh, plus if I'm
So-
just giving a speech and they just think like, oh, God's in him. Yeah, working through it.
He's caught the Holy Ghost.
So what? You want her to talk, but the only question that's been asked so far,
Who-
she answered, just not with words. She pointed at Cletus. Do we have another question for her?
Why does she keep looking at Cletus? Is he Bruce?
That would be pretty darn funny, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
You could just tell us who Bruce
If you ask her that, she says no.
because right now nobody knows who Bruce is.
Do you say that?
Yeah.
She will tell you that I also don't know who Bruce is. He knows them more than I do
And why do you say that?
because his kind has been hunting Bruce for years.
Oh, so Bruce is a warlock.
Spit on the name Warlock. He's a sorcerer, you fool. Stupid wizard. Ow, my hand.
But you
Or
have
lack thereof.
You have some connection to Bruce. Bruce won't stand for this. So why? What are you doing with Bruce?
Whatever he tells me to do.
So you're Bruce's bitch. Okay. Good to know. Good to know.
Thank you, Mickie.
You're welcome.
But of course, the
podcast might
answer
be
is
explicit.
yes. She's Bruce's bitch.
So is it really your claim you're trying to stake, or something for Bruce here in town?
Oh gosh. I don't know how she would go about saying it, but the end result is she's doing it with power on loan from him, but it's hers. Right? She's doing
right.
it for herself.
But she's been
But
souped
she
up.
borrowed money to do it.
Yeah.
But instead of money, she borrowed power.
All right, so
Okay, so
he's the benefactor.
yeah, however you'd want to word that. I can't think of how she would say it appropriately, but for story's sake, she has power on loan from him.
Was the power in the necklace that was destroyed?
You destroyed one part of it. Who has the other parts?
I believe
He has the whole thing. I just cut the with a
Okay.
strap.
Yeah, Kurt still has it.
So the reason I asked that is she then indicates, because I'm saying she can't point, right?
Yeah.
She's lost a hand.
She's got a stump.
She points her dribbling stump at Jamie and says, he holds the power now. I have the power of Grayskull.
Exactly.
You
Yes.
see lightning in the background.
Yeah.
What exactly do the
I
rest
shake
of
her
the
hand, but I'm
charms do?
Skeletor.
What do the other charms do? She's not going to answer that.
We're gonna find
Let's
out.
put it as she kind of looks up a little thinking and then shakes her head no.
I slap her with her own hand.
This just reminds me forever ago when we would watch professional wrestling with like Chief Jay Strongbow and Andre the Giant. My grandmother used to say, "Rip off his head and beat him over his arm and beat him over the head with it." All right, so father. Now I have to ask, Father Victor Bartok has removed the hand of a woman and is slapping her in the face with it.
Right. I wasn't always a priest.
We need to get a GIF of this and put it up on the Facebook site.
And she is evil.
So I guess what I'm thinking of next is your high concept is tribulational saint.
She's not.
How
She's
are
not a
you
good.
gonna
She's not a
make
good
up
person.
for
She's
things?
not a good person.
But two wrongs don't make a right.
Right, but she's evil.
Right.
She took homeless people and turned them into zombies.
They were dead already.
And I'm playing this from the character aspect, of course, and I want to.
That's why I gave you a little. I don't know if you read some of the background I gave you.
I
earlier.
looked a little bit,
So
yes.
he's came from bad things,
Yeah. But he's trying to get better.
Right, but
And that's
And
but
failing.
if it was if it was somebody innocent, then he'd be all about
The
putting
thing-
his life in the line, for that person. But this person's not.
what I'm going to look at here is because you're trying to fight back the evil,
Right.
I'm going to say that
It's on the edge.
that you are right there. You're right there to the point where your hunger may start to consume you if you don't back off.
Gotcha.
And you either, that's the other way around. You either give me a fate point or your hunger may consume you. She is in a lot of despair right now. All right. So I will take your fate point and you are able to slap her with her own hand. Although it doesn't go beyond everyone else's notice that her hand shakes a little bit while he's holding it. He's not completely sure of what he's doing right now, is the appearance. But you do indeed slap her silly with her own hand.
Maybe you need to take a break. Victor.
What was the question?
That's some stone cold shit.
I don't even remember what the question was. But anyway, she had power on loan from Bruce.
Is there more power
within the? Yeah. Well, he said she holds. She said he holds the power now.
Yes.
Yes. And then she got slapped. Let's put it this way.
She shook her head.
Since you were able to do it, because I had you give up a fate point for it, she says, I don't know what those were for yet. The other pieces, the other bone pieces still on the necklace. They're part of the plan. And you'll all die. You'll never get away with this.
Yeah, but you'll be dead first. As soon as you broke the laws, the 7 laws, you forfeited your life.
Is Bruce interested in us, or is he interested in something else and we just got in the way?
I wanted to say one of these.
Okay, so that's the
Scooby-Doo
question.
things
Supposedly
again.
the White Council sent us here.
You're the meddling
but
kids.
maybe they didn't.
Right.
No, they did.
That's what you say.
She can talk now. She can talk now when you guys are saying this stuff. No, they didn't.
Does that ring true?
Oh, yeah, it is. Anybody? The thing was, her voice rings true. Yes. No, they didn't. As
Like
far
I
as
said.
she is speaking her truth, how about that? That may not be the truth.
Maybe the
but
White
it
Council
is.
isn't so white.
Let's-
Gotta be black.
yeah. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
they're a little dirty.
If she is knowingly
smudge.
telling a falsehood, her voice will be distorted. Her voice is clear.
Okay.
Put it that way. So, yeah, no, they didn't. He's rogue. A rogue wizard.
Yeah. With the full power of the White Council behind me.
Evil cackle, right?
Evil cackle.
Yeah.
That rings true.
Yes, actually, yeah. Oh, she's there. She's all there. And she's starting to go pale, looking at her hand, and it looks like she's probably close to passing out from pain, and she's just putting up a bold front. What else? What else you got?
I'm honestly trying to
It might have most of what we're going to get from her.
Yeah, the thing is, yeah. Do you have
Yeah,
whereabouts of how do you contact Bruce, or do you meet him in person at all? Do you have any whereabouts where he might be?
No.
How's communication between you and Bruce?
He calls my pager.
Does she have a
Yes,
pager
she
on?
has an old pager. Yeah. And yes, she does have a pager on.
What's
Yes.
the number that you call him back on?
I guess she'll do this little thing of like point her stump and her head towards her belt. She doesn't have it memorized.
All right.
Go look at the pager.
Okay.
And that's my way of saying I don't have a number for you right now, Chris.
But she, yeah.
But it's on the pager.
It's
in
always
its
the same
history.
number.
Oh, it's definitely 8675309.
Yes. You have to call Jenny.
She's Bruce's secretary.
Jenny, I got your number.
Bruce, don't call me Fitz.
His middle name is Don't Call Me Fitz.
That's my middle name too.
Really?
It's crazy.
So now you have a number. What else? What else do you want from Champagne Horace of the One Hand?
When was the next time you're supposed to be in contact with him?
Oh, that's a good question. Let me see. She says in a very distorted voice, I'm not supposed to hear from him again.
Distorted meaning untrue?
Yeah.
Yeah. Lying.
No, she
bitch.
doesn't hear her own voice distorted.
Yeah.
She doesn't know you're up to something. It's that I'm treating this as a ritual. You guys
Yeah.
to determine her telling the truth or not.
You're not going to pull out your Liza Minnelli?
Liza Minnelli lies.
What semblance of a plan do you have with Bruce?
And in a voice that gets even more distorted, almost inaudible, she says, "There is no plan."
Oh yeah.
You
Totally
said that's not
believe
part
you.
of the plan earlier. You said it. So what?
Like her 12-year-old daughter's picking on her. But you said earlier, it's none of your business. And that comes out true.
Right, of course.
That comes out completely true, right? Rings very true.
Even if we can get her in a falsehood,
All right,
we could
Victor, I think we need to
assume.
cut off the other arm because this bitch is not cooperating.
Oh, my goodness. And she's cooperating as much as, well, somebody who's probably going to die anyway might.
That's true.
That's why I'm trying to play it.
Should we
I'm not
contact...
trying to be obstinate. I'm trying to play it as somebody who probably has a chance at life, especially since she thinks she still has some power.
Do you want to try contacting this Bruce person via the pager?
And she says in a distorted voice, he won't answer.
Yeah, he will.
How do you contact him? What device do you use?
It's a regular phone, I guess.
Yeah, but does she use a cell phone? Does she use a landline someplace? She use a payphone? It's always the same payphone.
No, it's any phone. Any phone.
Okay.
Anything that dials.
So he's
a
not
number, nothing
expecting.
special
He's not
there.
expecting a specific number.
Nah.
Is there a code that you would use in order to verify your identity?
Oh, that's a good point. That's kind of funny, actually. She says in a half-distorted voice, which starts with, tell him that Bill, and then clearly Smith called. So the Bill part's a lie and the Smith part is true, if it wasn't clear enough.
It is now.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. So, we've got half a name.
We're not going to have cell coverage here. We might have to.
I like it. Thanks, Kurt.
We might have to hike a little bit.
There's a telegraph in the building, right? That probably fits the time period that we're thinking of.
Pony
Pages.
Express action.
It's like I'm gonna go listen to.
I communicate with them in Morse code.
Smoke signals.
Sure you do. Come here and I'm going to knock you around a bit.
You're going to give her a dot dash in her face?
Just SOS all over your face.
I'm just going to SOS all over your face.
What about if we threaten to call Bruce and tell him about her failure?
He's not going to care.
But she might be worried. That
Actually, let's put it
she's
this
gonna be
way. As Victor says she's not going to care, she says it at exactly the same time. It's like stereo and they both ring true.
I don't care.
He's not going to care.
Yeah, she's small potatoes to Bruce.
Yeah, she is small
He's
potatoes,
just going to write
isn't
her
she?
off. He's already written her
She's
off.
a little piddly little warlock.
Maybe we should cut her other hand
Has
off,
no
let her
power
go,
of her
and hunt her.
own.
And in hearing Cletus with his chiding, she does snarl, and it is ringing true that she is genuinely upset.
You have no power of your own. You required a booster seat from your master.
Oh, shit.
I think that's worse than losing the hand.
Burn!
She says very clearly, "Put away your puppies and move me out of this water, and we'll see, wizard."
Oh, I think she's calling you out.
I think she wants a shot at the title.
She does.
She wants to be able to throw her death curse.
Yeah.
Something that you all need to know. When a wizard dies, they will use their last action to gain vengeance on whoever it is that killed them.
Well, I think it's going to be Victor that does her in here, so I'm not too worried about
Yeah.
As
that.
long as she's in the water, she can't hurt you.
Says, "You coward. You talk big, but you're just a little wizard."
You're very right. And unfortunately, you're the one that's bound up, missing a hand, has a smashed hand, missing a tooth, broken
You're
hand.
an ugly bitch today,
They
aren't
just
you?
fall apart.
And every bit of little effort she gives makes her a little more pale, like she's getting weaker and weaker.
Yeah.
And it's just at the edge of consciousness. She's not about to die. You guys haven't led her to die, but she's. I mean,
The turn gets good for 6 hours before
yeah,
we
she
have to
lost
lose
a
the limb.
hand.
And
Right?
essentially what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make her angry enough to forget or lose her focus.
Yeah.
I'm trying to go for a soul gaze. I'm trying to determine what her true intentions are.
Plus with the pain, yeah, she weakened enough
Well,
to
I mean,
slip up.
But with a soul gaze, you don't necessarily get her true intention. You just get her true being,
True.
right? Okay.
And I want to know if she has anything redeemable in her.
So let's give that a shot. Let's see if you can convince her to do that. So let's go with an overcome, I guess, an overcome action.
Okay.
And you're using, what would you call that?
I'm using focus.
Okay.
I am letting her insults fade right off me, and
Okay.
I'm just being. I found her weakness. I found the trigger that,
Okay.
and I'm just
She's got
needling
that
in on
pride
it.
and hubris. She's just working.
Okay. Okay. She's going to use focus as well, and I end up with a.
I end up with a 3.
I have a 2.
Good enough. Good enough for funk.
Therefore,
And so what
you're
you
able to trick her into it.
Yep.
At some point, you've got her to where she's so upset at you that she just glares at you straight into your eyes. And what does she learn from you?
So as far as the rules are concerned,
only on
she
a tie.
learns. Well, whoever wins learns something true. Only on a
That's
tie
it?
do they both learn
Yeah.
something,
that
unless
kinda
I
sucks.
wish to give her something. Like, for example, with Kurt, I won, but I gave him something.
Well, let's do it this way. If you're up for it, I will give you a fate point that you can keep from the next refresh
Okay.
if you share something with her.
Sure.
Just so you know, I'm going to use it.
Yeah.
Okay. And it may not be her that uses it, but it will come up. So with that, you know what? You guys are using all these colors. Mine will be black.
Black.
Give JJ a black chip, please. And that will be one that you keep until it's used. When we refresh and you go back to 1, you will have 1 plus my GM chip.
Oh, it's like a super special fate point.
Ah, there it is.
Exactly. What's that?
Those are the other 2 I already have.
I thought you only had 1.
I
You
did,
gave
but you
him
gave
one
me
before.
one in order to,
earlier,
so
yes,
he wouldn't
yes.
cast
That's right.
the circle.
Okay, yeah. But
I will hoard all of them.
Well, that's fine. But when we refresh,
Yeah, I know.
probably at the end of this hour,
Yeah.
you'll go down to the 1 plus the
1.
super special awesome one.
That's
So yeah,
Super special.
what does she learn about you?
It's a very good question. Can I send you a Hangout message or
You can,
okay.
yes. And what you learned from her, if you are going to share it with everybody, I'll just say it.
Yep.
Okay. You see inside of Champagne Horus that she is a pawn in a much larger game.
So like I see some kind of like chessboard.
That's what I was just going to get to. You see yourself as her as a pawn on the side of the dark. Okay, so there's a regular chessboard, black and white pieces.
Yep.
She is a pawn on the side of the dark. And then as you look around the chessboard, you see
A Cheshire cat.
on the white side, you see one of the knights is Mora. One of the rooks is Jamie. And somewhere in the middle of the board is kind of a grayish tinted bishop that looks a lot like Victor. And on the black side, the king and queen are both faces that somehow ring a bell, but you can't quite make out who they are.
Okay.
And you're sure there's somebody you've met in the past.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And I'll say
Intriguing.
thank you.
And at that point, at the end of that soul gaze, she passes out.
Okay.
Aw.
Yes.
Night, night.
She's taking a nappy nap.
She's taking a nappy nap.
Sleepy sleep. Sleepy sleep.
Say it again, Kurt. Let's just keep saying sleepy sleep
Sleepy
for a
sleep.
while.
Sleepy sleep.
All right, so right now you have an unconscious voodoo priestess practitioner in a stream. You're at a pump house, half an hour away from a road. You had to hike there, right? I think
Yep.
that's right. And you have a little bit of new information. Well, what's the next step for our intrepid Quadro?
So, given that I told the White Council where I was going
Yeah.
with the Warlock, how soon should I expect them to meet me?
It's kind of iffy. Somebody's probably going to show up eventually, but it might be well past dark. Let's say it's 3 or 4 in the afternoon. It might be well past dark, and there's not a whole lot of light out here in this area. But they're probably showing up at the supermarket, at that building, trying to get some cleanup done. But in the meantime, you guys will definitely have some time to ponder what you've done. I guess that's what I'm looking for. Let's do some pondering and conversation before others show up, before outsiders show up. You have a unconscious voodoo priestess, and you can walk plenty far away from her.
I'm not sure we want to be here when the White Council shows up, though.
Agreed.
Since I don't really trust what's going on, since who knows who sent us on this little, whatever you want to call it.
Adventure?
Incident, for sure.
Yeah. One might even say distraction. Never know.
Dun, dun, dun!
So maybe we need to check in with our resources to find out if anyone knows of this Bruce person or has seen other people making a move in town.
Especially if there's a new power player.
I can reach out to some of my contacts, see if anyone's seen any increase in activity in the area.
Your monster network.
My
Monster Hunter network.
My contact's way out of town.
Yeah.
But maybe he knows of something someplace else.
Now, excuse me, as the Catholic priest, are you able to just talk to other Catholic
I
priests?
can.
Or
Yeah, I can.
do any of them know? Do any of the local ones know about the supernatural?
I guess I would have to subtly try to figure that out, you know.
Yeah.
You know.
What would Jamie do?
I was just thinking, I don't know that I have contacts who would know about this kind of thing. I mean, I'm kind of keyed into really the natural world. You know, I've got my contact up in Asheville, who's the fly fisher.
Champagne Horace said she was born and raised here, though, as was Jamie.
Well, she was, so I could ask around just generally about who she is and find out her background.
Do you have any business contacts, though? You might, I don't know if you learn anything. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I've got plenty. I mean, I know the mayor. I know businessmen. I mean, I know regular people. I don't think I have.
Because even in the supernatural world,
yeah,
they're still making moves that are going to affect things like that. You know?
I could always call Allison as well, my my data entry girl at work,
at the police department.
At the police department.
Yep.
Amy, the
And find out if she was a warlock, then most likely she was also a troublemaker in school.
That's a good
So you're going to
point.
pull her juvie records?
So I'm going to see if I can pull her juvie record.
Yeah, that's a good point, yeah. If nothing else, there's probably some record of things happening around her, even if she wasn't the cause. Some bit. Okay. And that, let's take another minute. That's kind of going to wrap up the first session, or let's call it the first adventure. This is linking us to the next things we end up doing. As I had said early on when we were starting this one, I was trying to place a clear bad person that we could bring the 4 characters together for in order to overcome this one thing and start leading into our world. Based on what we learned a bit about how the character creation worked, how we did stuff, and the rules that we did in the last few sessions, what do we think so far? What do we think of the game and how we're playing it?
I think once we get the hang of the quirks, like I'm still not entirely sure I have a handle on the ritual magic. But it's definitely a cross between Dungeon World and your traditional D20 game.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah, it's a little tricky. Like even just the investigation. If it were D&D, I would say, oh well, I have knowledge local or knowledge history or knowledge arcana, and I would go talk to someone and roll. On this one, I don't have that sense for, well, I can go talk to the mayor, but like, does the mayor know anything about anything? Or, you know,
We don't know.
So it feels a little more open that way.
Now, this is, using that example, that's a good place to think of something like a new aspect for your character.
Right.
You have local contacts. What would that mean? What would that aspect be? That you're in with local politicians or something, right? And in which case, then you invoke that aspect in order to get something that you might not get, that other characters might not get.
Right. Like one of my aspects is I can dress up well, but I don't like to.
Yeah.
Which I envision that as, you know, I want to be in camouflage out in the woods, but I can put on my tux and
You
go
could
to a
rub
party,
elbows
or
with
I
You
can
could
the-
put
throw
on
your
a suit and go
camouflage
to
on in the socialite
right,
scene
exactly.
as well.
His pink camo tux.
Bow tie.
Urban camo.
Pink camo bow tie.
How's it going
But,
for you so far, Mickie?
You were.
Yeah, I mean, I was just gonna say I don't have a. I mean, I'm enjoying the story and the characters, but I don't have a great sense for what I can and can't do in the rules yet.
Okay.
Which I think, because I've read a lot about Fate, the idea is basically if we agree that what I'm trying to do works in the story, then I get to roll for it and maybe it happens. Which I think, at the end of the day, is pretty simple, but I'm just not totally used to it yet.
Yeah, it's a matter of getting used to it, like
Right.
talking through it on the table versus
Right.
Yeah.
sticking to your little actions on your cards. So it's going to definitely stretch at least my kind of more creative muscles. Because if you can as to quote James earlier, if you can bullshit your way through it,
Yeah.
it could happen.
Right.
Yeah. And
Right,
I think
like-
that's a big thing in a lot of these games. Come up with with the thing that you want to do until the rules stop you. Don't use the rules to come up with what you want. Come
Yeah.
up with what you want and push it right up until you butt up against a rule. And chances are the rule you're going to butt up against is just that you need to roll to make it succeed. Even then, it's not a no. It's that maybe, and see if the roll fits it.
Well, I think the idea with the fate points is if you're stretching it, use a fate point, convince everyone that it's like slightly plausible, and then
Yeah.
you can try, or you can increase your chances.
How's it going for you, Chris?
Good, but I think we mentioned it where, yeah, I think I'm worried about the mechanics, but I don't necessarily need to know the mechanics, you know. It's like you said. Just,
Yeah.
If you can try to pull something off, and we'll find a mechanic that works with it.
I think what we need to know is where to start,
Right.
as far as the mechanic piece goes, because I'll be pulling, hopefully, more around aspects and troubles and what have you as we go.
Right.
Because those things are very important, not just to the Fate system, but to the Dresden verse. I mean,
Yep.
Harry Dresden gets in trouble because of who he is,
Yep.
and he gets out of trouble because of who he is, not because he rolled high enough per se.
Right.
He gets into the situation or out of the situation based on something within the character. And when you imagine the role-based stuff, it's all around, he must have rolled just enough because he made it but had to pay a cost.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or he got out of it scot-free, so he must have made it with style, so to speak.
Yeah. I think that's good. This is going to hinge on us utilizing our aspects, and I think, Joe, you did a better job this last episode, you know, when you invoked his hunger
Yeah.
aspect, or with me, the people I know don't know me.
Yeah.
You know, you made it so he didn't trust me. So using aspects to introduce drama
Yeah.
in order for the characters to overcome that aren't part of the story.
And I wanted to not overcomplicate the first adventure, so to
Yeah.
speak. So I tried not to do too much of that because at the same time, I want you guys to do the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, because the supermarket is dim, I'm able to sneak up behind her. Like that kind of thing didn't happen, but invoking that would have been an additional plus whatever to a roll or a re-roll, whatever.
Yeah.
So what happens if we
Yeah.
invoke something that isn't true? Like
You
for
make it true first. That's where you do the creating an advantage. You come up
Okay.
with the aspect. You're
and
discovering
then it's up to you to
something.
agree or disagree.
Yeah,
Got it.
exactly. Yep.
Let the bullshit roll.
Yeah.
That could be a good show title.
The bullshit must flow.
Yeah. All right. So we'll wrap this one up, and we'll get ready for our next session on Adventures from the Shed, where we will continue our Dresden Files Accelerated game with our favorite characters for this system because they're the only ones we've played so far.
And isn't our next episode going to be our anniversary episode?
One of the next episodes, our listeners here, will be our third anniversary episode. So stay tuned for that. Lots.
That's
of
crazy.
Years
fun and
of this
excitement.
That's longer than I dated everyone except for my wife.
So does that mean that we're close to getting engaged?
You know,
I
that's
actually
true.
feel like I know more
That's true
dirty
for-
things about you than I do my wife.
The whole world.
In the meantime, we'll go ahead and say
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Dirty, dirty girl.
The preceding podcast was brought to you by One Joe Young. You can find us online at adventuresfromtheshed.com.